price $23,000, but Guangzhou price $600.
Recognize this style, this bag? Of course you do. For the past more than 30 years, we have been the OEM factory for most of the luxury brands around the world. Gucci, Prada, Coach, Louis Vuitton.
Alright, let's talk Chanel. That legendary double C, the bag that costs a small fortune. The one you're told is pure French magic, meticulously handcrafted in Parisian ateliers, right? Well, hold on tight, because viral TikToks and explosive online whispers are now screaming a totally different, almost unbelievable story. Turns out your coveted made in France dream, the one symbolizing ultimate luxury, might just have a secret sprawling detour through a Chinese factory floor. And the most insane part of this unfolding drama, the word on the street, the fear rippling through the fashion world, is that Chanel might actually be considering yanking its most iconic, most lusted after bags completely off the shelves to deal with this potentially catastrophic expose. Yeah, you heard that correctly.
At Hermes boutique will cost you 38,000 USD. But what is the real cost out of the factory? Today, I'm going to break it down in front of you step by step. First thing first, Hermes only use the leathers from the 3 top-level suppliers. One is called Nuti from Italy. The second is Weinheim from Germany, and the third is Haas from France. One piece of Togo leather, the same leather as this one, will cost 450 USD.
It started as so many modern upheavals do on the screens of our phones. Viral videos, cryptic posts, and alleged insider leaks began to paint a picture so contrary to Chanel's polished image it was hard to believe. Claims surfaced, often anonymously, from individuals purporting to have knowledge of luxury brand supply chains, hinting that not all was as it seemed behind the gilded doors of French ateliers. One particularly potent thread of these rumors pointed towards the Asia-Pacific Leather Fair, a massive sourcing event where the world's top brands, or their intermediaries, hunt for materials. Whispers emerged that crucial components, if not more, for some of Europe's most elite fashion houses were being quietly procured through these Asian channels, inevitably leading to the doorstep of Chinese manufacturing facilities. The central allegation, the one that sent shivers down the spines of Chanel devotees, was this. While Chanel proudly stamps "Made in France" or "Made in Italy" on its coveted creations, are key elements, or perhaps even significant portions of the assembly, being stealthily outsourced to China to drastically cut costs? Suddenly, the flawless, untouchable facade of Chanel seemed to show its first, almost imperceptible crack. And what lay beneath was far more complex than anyone imagined.
And one piece of the leather is only enough to make one Birkin, okay? And next, the thread. And of course, for Hermes Birkin, the thread is also the best top level. It's called Fil à Chinois from France. This is actually the Rolls Royce.
To understand the magnitude of these rumors, one must first appreciate the fortress of an image Chanel has meticulously constructed over a century. This isn't just a brand, it's a dynasty built on the bedrock of French savoir-faire. Chanel's narrative is one of unparalleled artistry, of workshops humming with the dedication of master artisans, their skills passed down through generations. The company has famously invested in preserving this heritage, acquiring numerous specialized maisons d'art under its Parafection subsidiary, from embroiderers and featherworkers to pleaters and shoemakers, all to ensure that authentic French craftsmanship remains at the heart of its identity. This commitment is boldly proclaimed on every price tag, in every glossy advertisement. Made in France, made in Italy. These aren't just labels, they are solemn vows, promises of exclusivity and meticulous handcrafted quality that, in the eyes of the brand and its clientele, justify the often staggering prices. It's a narrative of purity, of direct lineage from Coco Chanel's revolutionary vision to the bag in your hands. But these fresh, unsettling allegations of a hidden Chinese connection began to cast a long, deeply uncomfortable shadow over this pristine, carefully guarded legend.
In thread. For each bag, the cost is 25 USD. And then the hardware. See, this hardware is called 316 hardware. It's also known as the ocean stainless steel because it can withstand the erosion of seawater. It's the best stainless steel. For one piece of bag, the hardware will cost 150 USD. The edge oil.
The allure of a Chanel bag is deeply intertwined with the perceived quality of its materials. The buttery softness of its lambskin, the resilient texture of its caviar leather, the satisfying gleam of its interlocking CC hardware. These are legendary. No one disputes the premium nature of what Chanel uses, but the factory expose whispers introduced a devastating question. Are these exact same high-grade materials, sourced from the finest tanneries and suppliers, then being discreetly shipped to factories in China where the skilled yet significantly less expensive labor force performs the intricate assembly? If true, the cost-saving implications would be enormous. Parallels were immediately drawn to the earlier Hermes scandal, where alleged factory costs of a few $100s were contrasted with retail prices in the tens of thousands. If a similar dynamic were at play with Chanel, it forces a profound reevaluation. What then are consumers truly paying for? Is it the unparalleled French or Italian artistry they've been sold, or is a substantial portion of that price tag an immense premium for the Chanel logo and the dream it represents, with the actual labor outsourced for efficiency? The controversy isn't just about where it's made, but whether the soul of its craftsmanship could be retained if its heart was beating in a different continent, and if the value proposition still holds.
This edge oil is imported from Italy. It's called heat seal edge oil. For each bag, it will cost 50 USD. The interior lining, it used lambskin imported from France. For each bag, the cost will be 100 USD. And also inside, there is a zipper from Riri brand. And the zipper for one bag is 10 USD. And then the cost of human resource. The French artisans is much more expensive than Chinese artisans to finish one bag.
As these expose narratives gained traction, a wave of genuine alarm, bordering on panic, rippled through the Chanel community and the wider fashion sphere. The implications were too significant to ignore. If these claims of substantial Chinese manufacturing were to be substantiated, or even if they just became too damagingly persistent, could Chanel, in a desperate bid to protect its heritage brand and staunch the bleeding of its reputation, take the most drastic step imaginable? Could they actually cancel production of their iconic bags, the 2.55, the classic flap, the boy bag, to either thoroughly overhaul their supply chain under a veil of secrecy, or to simply stop the bleeding from a wound that refuses to heal? The very thought is a fashion apocalypse for many. Such a move would be devastating for loyal collectors who have invested emotionally and financially. It would throw the already volatile resale market into utter chaos. More profoundly, it would represent an almost unimaginable blow to the brand's mystique, an admission, however indirect, that something had gone fundamentally wrong in Paradise. This wasn't merely about production logistics anymore. It was about the potential, terrifying erasure of a fashion legacy, and the fear was palpable.
The human resource cost will be 600 USD. The package, this is not that expensive. It's 10 USD. So now to sum those up, the total cost will be 1,400 USD for one Birkin out of factory.
While the spotlight is currently searing Chanel, it's crucial to acknowledge a broader context. Chanel certainly wouldn't be the first, nor the only luxury brand to navigate the complex realities of a globalized supply chain. Many high-end labels, even those fiercely protective of their European heritage, utilize international manufacturing for certain components or processes. There are undeniable economic advantages, access to skilled labor at competitive rates, manufacturing efficiencies, and proximity to burgeoning Asian markets. It's an intricate dance, balancing the brand's historical narrative and the powerful country of origin marketing cachet with the pragmatic demands of modern global commerce. The line becomes blurry when the made-in label primarily reflects the final, perhaps minimal touches rather than the bulk of the craftsmanship. But for a brand like Chanel, which has built its empire on such an unshakable foundation of French exclusivity and in-house artisanal mastery, any perception of large-scale, undeclared overseas manufacturing isn't just a PR issue, it's an existential threat to its core identity. What might be a tolerated complexity for some brands could be utterly catastrophic for one that sells not just a product, but a meticulously crafted national dream.
But why Hermes will charge you 38,000 USD for one bag? That's because more than 90% of the price is paid for its logo. But if you do not care about the logo, you just want the same quality, same material, you can just buy from us. Because for our bags, we use exactly the same material, same leather, same hardware, same edge oil.
In the face of such explosive allegations and the swirling fears of iconic bag cancellations, the world turns to Chanel, waiting. How is the legendary fashion house addressing these factory expose claims? Often in these situations, the response itself becomes as scrutinized as the original accusation. A stony silence, while perhaps a traditional stance for an aloof luxury brand, can be incredibly damaging in the hyper-connected digital age. To many online, silence isn't golden, it's an admission, fueling further speculation and allowing damaging narratives to fester and grow unchecked. A carefully worded, non-denial denial can also backfire, seen as evasive. Conversely, an aggressive, outright denial needs to be backed by transparent proof or it risks looking hollow. We've seen other brands caught in similar predicaments take various paths. Some opt for increased transparency about their supply chains, others issue firm rebuttals, and some, like Hermès in its own recent storm, choose a more reserved, almost silent approach. Right now, the internet is a cauldron of debate, and every official statement or notable lack thereof from Chanel is being dissected, analyzed, and reinterpreted under an intense global microscope, each passing day of ambiguity potentially adding more fuel to the fire.
The only difference is one, we don't have the logo, so we don't have to pay so much amount of money just for that logo. And second, our human resource is much cheaper. This is why this bag from our factory only costs you 1,000 USD, but even better quality and quality.
The potential repercussions, should these made in China allegations prove to have significant substance, are immense and far-reaching for Chanel. The immediate aftershock would be a severe dent in its ironclad reputation, a brand value carefully cultivated over a century. Beyond that, the erosion of trust could be the most damaging consequence. If the foundational promise of made in France or made in Italy is perceived as compromised, what other assurances from the brand can consumers truly believe? It could force Chanel, and perhaps the wider luxury sector, into a new era of uncomfortable transparency, compelling them to be far more candid about their global operations than ever before. For the dedicated Chanel owner, the fear is that the magic, the intrinsic specialness of possessing one of these iconic pieces could be irrevocably tarnished. The pride of ownership is intrinsically linked to the story behind the bag, a story of heritage, exclusivity, and unparalleled craftsmanship. If that story is revealed to be more marketing myth than manufacturing reality, the perceived value, both emotional and monetary, could plummet. This isn't just about where stitches are sewn, it's about the very soul of the brand.
Vuitton and Chanel will hate me if I tell you this, revealing the secret behind big brand. Let's go! Hang Long from Singapore, or Bodin Rugs for their landscape from France. Tannery Haas, Italian Tannery, Fight. Labri Tecna from Italy. Guess where I found all those secret suppliers? All in APIF.
The storm of the Chanel China factory expose and the chilling subsequent fear that iconic bags could face cancellation has undeniably sent tremors of unease throughout the entire edifice of luxury fashion. Whether these claims are ultimately proven to be verifiable truth, a cleverly spun tapestry of rumor and partial information, or something in between, they have dragged a critical question into the harsh light of day. What truly defines luxury in the 21st century? Is it the whispered story of Parisian ateliers, the tangible quality of the materials, the verifiable origin of its craftsmanship, the ethics of its production, or simply the power of a globally recognized logo and the aspirational dream it sells? Chanel, a titan of the industry, now stands at a precarious crossroads. Its next moves, its responses, or its silences could redefine its legendary status and its relationship with its devotees for generations to come. The fashion world is holding its breath, and the questions, far from being settled, are only just beginning to resonate with profound implications.